What's good, YouTube? Back in another video. It's been at least a couple of weeks. I believe my last video was the NFL draft, talking about the first round of news, and that was a crazy storyline. But today I wanted to get into the playoffs because I have been watching. I've been caught up, but I have not covered the content on YouTube like I should have. And I wanted to cover the second round in its entirety. So we've had 8 total games, I believe. I believe every series has played 2 games up to this point. And this is one of the most exciting playoffs so far, easily in the last 5 years. Probably the most exciting one. If we just go by game basis, I mean, LeBron drives the media. We all know this, but I mean, the ratings have been very good. The Knicks have been a huge addition in terms of ratings and viewership. Them doing well against Boston, but each series was extremely exciting over the weekend, and I want to cover them in just the ones that I enjoyed watching the most. So we're gonna get straight into this. I'm gonna start with Pacers-Cavs because Halliburton to me has just been the star of the playoffs so far. Just so many great moments along with the showmanship. I mean, in the first round we seen him against Dame, and they had their scuffle as he pulled it out. Now Dame, I mean, he just came back from blood clots and his injury. Man, you really hope to see him have a good ending to his career, but the Bucks are in complete shambles, to be honest. Giannis is most likely gone in the offseason, just like KD, and they do not have any rebuilding path. So if Giannis does want to get out of there into a bigger market, they're going to need to get picks back and some young guys to have some type of hope for the fan base, because right now it looks like purgatory. But I want to get into game 1 of Cleveland versus Indiana because of just how great these games was. Now, game 2 was hindered by injuries coming in. But even then, like that was an exciting one. We're gonna get to that one in about 5 minutes or so. I just want to quickly go through these games, as there is quite a lot to get through in one video, but I have the time to get through a long cut tonight. So game 1. Now this was a game that Indiana had controlled for 3 quarters pretty much, and we're just coming out on the Cavs' home floor. Now, the Cavs have been part of the big 3 of the NBA between them, Boston, and OKC, and they have dominated their home floor, 34-7 at home over the season. I'm not sure if that includes, or no, that does not include the playoffs because it is 41 games. But Indiana, they came out strong. Now, you could tell this team is extremely tough to beat on a playoff atmosphere because of their pace. And you've seen a bunch of games where teams are in the 90s, sometimes even the 80s at the absolute worst. And with Indiana, they're a guaranteed 110 every single night. So you're going to have to play at their pace because they're not slowing down with any competition. They're not scared of anyone. Halliburton leading the charge, and just so much depth across the lineup. I mean, if we go to this box score of game 1, double digits for all 5 guys. I mean, this is how Indiana wins games. They spread the ball. They get the open threes. Now, this is the meta of the NBA in 2025, but they do it extremely well. And if they can continue being efficient from the 3-point line, like Siakam 40%, Nesmith 4 for 6, Turner 1 for 3, and you want to see a little bit more from him in terms of 3-point line, but that variation is going to be completely fine coming from Turner, who's also going to get 10 boards a game. Nembhard has been extremely good all playoffs, 23 points here, and I believe about 15 or so in game 2, or something like that. Halliburton, I mean, he's been the best player in the series so far, 100%. I mean, we'll get into Donovan Mitchell's big game in game 2, but he struggled in game 1. 33 points on 30 shots. They kept them extremely inefficient. And as far as the Cavs, they did not play great team ball, especially defensively, as they let Indiana get a bunch of easy shots early on, and they stepped on the gas a little bit in the third quarter, catching up and taking a lead actually in the late third quarter before Indiana, they did not stress whatsoever, and across the lineup. And going into that third quarter, if we can get into the play-by-play, going in the late third, where the Cavs go up. Let me see. Yeah, right here. The Cavs go up 84, and they actually get it to 88-84 before Mathurin, a huge 3-pointer from Halliburton's pass. And they'll take the lead once again, and this is back and forth before Miles Turner's buzzer beater. But as far as just in terms of this was a great game start to finish. You could tell both teams are extremely high quality, and Pacers have come to play. Now the Cavs, they were the heavy favorites, and now the injuries have completely just turned off the outlook of the series, because this is much different from Boston's situation, as the Cavs, like they have some silver lining going on here, but I truly think they're done. Like, and the Indiana closed this game out, and in game 2, this was much worse for Cleveland, as it was just a complete collapse, and you did not expect that happening. I had turned the game off about 40 seconds left, I believe, and the Cavs were up about 7-8 points, and I come back about 5 minutes later, after a few timeouts, and it's a 3-point game in the free throw game. So the Pacers, and they did this last week against Milwaukee to close that series out, and they're extremely efficient with getting great shots to close the lead. And you could tell for much of the fourth quarter, as you can see, like Indiana outscored the Cleveland by 15 in the fourth. They were closing the gap, getting great looks from three, and Cleveland, you could see the stress, but once they had got that gap with about a minute or two left, you felt like the game was over. Now this collapse happens because of these fouls, offensive rebounds off of free throws specifically, which is absolute worst, and it just a complete waste of Donovan Mitchell's 48-point masterclass. I felt really bad because of how many guys they were missing and how well he played to carry them to that, what they were supposed to get, a win here. But they absolutely collapsed, and Halliburton once again shows up with the buzzer beater. Now we go to their starting lineup once again, double digits, and this is probably going to happen every single game. Siakam with 12 points was the lowest scoring guy, and he's honestly quite often their leading scorer. Aaron Nesmith and Miles Turner with 23 apiece. You'll take that every day of the week, and even on the bench, like, they're getting great production. Mathurin is a bench guy, and he's going to be getting starting lineup time, I believe, sometime this playoffs, just because of how talented he is. Obi Toppin as well, getting 16 minutes, and then 14 minutes from McConnell, 11 from Thomas Bryant. Now I have to give it up because I was completely shocked seeing Thomas Bryant on a playoff floor, and even in the few minutes he had, he was a -9, but I felt like he was pacing well, and you could tell that he's extremely comfortable in this position. Now the bench didn't do well in terms of box plus minus, but that's gonna be a huge variation over the course of the series. It was just honestly a huge collapse that Cleveland should not have let off the gas here. But as far as going in game 3 and game 4, I do think those are going to split, and Indiana will be up 3-1 going back to Cleveland. This series is over, in my opinion, because Cleveland cannot win both games. I do not see them winning game 3 and game 4 without Mobley, Garland, and DeAndre Hunter. So it's extremely sad because of how successful of a season they have had, going 64-18. This is one of the best records of all time, and it's just going to end just like that. But the Pacers deserve it. They played extremely well so far in the playoffs, and they can get to the finals. I do want to go to the Boston-Knicks series next, because of this was probably the most talked about series for a multitude of reasons. Now let me see. Let me get to it. Going to Boston. Okay, I think I can access it in the playoff bracket. Here we go. Knicks Celtics. Yes. Yes. Okay, here we go. Game 1. 108-105 in overtime, and for much of this game, it was kind of unwatchable, just because of how dominant Boston is. And still, at this moment, at time of recording, I do think Boston is the much superior team on paper for a reason, and you could see it visually with the eye test in both of these games, as they got up significantly and took their foot off the gas twice. You would have never seen it coming back to back, and a common sentiment was that it was shooting variation, which I thought was extremely insane because of how well New York was defending. Now, Boston was getting a ton of open shots, but you could tell, like, New York, with Thibodeau, he runs his guys so much. And we talk about it all throughout the season, how this puts his guy up the injury. But they have stayed healthy, and all of them, if we go into the box score, we can see the minutes from the Knicks starters. 51, 46, 31 from Cat, 44, 45. And I understand the 5 minutes of overtime, but, I mean, like these are workhorse minutes. And then Mitchell Robinson and McBride are both getting significant minutes in game 1. And over the season, like, they have conditioned themselves to another tier, honestly. And with Boston, you just do not want to see in late game situations that New York has the best guy in the clutch. I mean, that is just what has been shown. And Mikal Bridges in back-to-back games, while he did not shoot well for most of the game, he made some great plays on both sides of the ball, honestly, and the game-winning defensive plays twice. The Knicks bring it to overtime, I believe, after being down 20 in game 1, and they pull out this game, and it happens again. Now, there's nothing much in specific to talk about, as both of these games were so similar. It felt like you were watching just the same game once again. It was 91-90, so it doesn't get to overtime this time. But Boston, once again, is up 20 points. And all you have to do is close it out, just as they've done all season long. They were the second best team in the Eastern Conference. They were one of the top 3 in the NBA. And just going off of analytics, these guys were by far the best 3 teams in the league. And Boston is the superior team. And if they keep their foot on New York's Knicks, they win easily in both of these games. But when it gets close, now this is the difference. When it gets close, Tatum and Brown have both struggled. And with their role guys missing open shots as well, Tatum needs to shot create in the clutch. And he has not done that at all. In game 2, which was why he was roasted in social media, just being plainly honest with you, 5 for 19 is insanity from your number 1 guy who's looked at as a top 5 guy in the league in the playoffs. And with how expensive this roster is, this is going to be the most expensive roster in NBA history if this goes past the offseason. And Boston's front office have made it publicly clear that this will be broken up in some way. Now, how, we will have to see, as that is to be determined. But whether it's Holiday or Brown, like Brown at the worst, or maybe White, someone is getting moved because of how expensive it is. And we know that this is a championship winning team. This team can get it done. But when they're not getting it done, with how expensive they are in the new CBA, it's just unfeasible. So they're going to be broken up. But 5 for 19 and 8 for 23 from your 2 All-Stars, your Finals MVP, your perennial stars. It just doesn't work. And going on the Knicks side of the ball, I mean, we can go to their bench guys as well, but with Boston, they play the same 8 guys every game. Sometimes Tillman gets some time, or Hauser as well. But these are the main guys that are going to get minutes. And they're extremely efficient in their style of play, like shooting threes. Now, we can see the team stats. 10 for 40, I believe. Let me go make sure. 10 for 40 was the stat line at the 3-point line. And this is how Boston wins a championship. They shoot a ton of threes, and they're extremely efficient in doing so. After game 1, we had thought, okay, it's shooting variation. They're going to start falling in game 2, and they shoot even worse. And they were still up big. That's why I do not think it was a coaching problem, because I felt like Missoula had them in. Maybe you could say it was a coaching collapse for why they let New York get into the game. But New York was creeping through that fourth quarter, just getting closer and closer. And you could feel the air tighten from fans and the team in the final 5 minutes, as it's like a 6-point game, 5-point game. And now if we go back on the Knicks side, before we move on to the next series, Towns, he gets 21 points. I mean, he was better than both guys on Boston. 17 rebounds from Karl-Anthony Towns. That you will take that. You're not going to see that often, because I feel like he is a weaker rebounder. I mean, he'll get you to 10 on good nights, but 17, in my opinion, was an outlier. but great game despite the -2. I mean, this just shows like these guys are so impactful on the bench, especially Mitchell Robinson in his 22 points. Now he only gets you 6 minutes, but in 22 and 6, I'm backwards. In 22 minutes, he only gets you 6 points, but the 8 rebounds, 3 steals, and the great rim protection. And is the one reason why he was a plus 19 on the floor. Mikal Bridges once again plays 43 minutes. OG Anunoby, who he did not shoot well at all. He had a very bad game, but he is extremely consistent defensively, and he's going to make shots tough, especially in that mid-range for Tatum. Jalen Brunson, he did not shoot well, but it didn't matter because he was the best guy in the clutch. He got it done when it was needed, and he helped pull out the win. Now, Mikal Bridges, we have to give him credit. He only had 14 points on a terrible shooting night. 6 for 18 is insanity. But he most, if not all of his points came in the fourth quarter. So you will take that because that gets you up 2-0 going back to the Garden. Josh Hart, 9-15, 23 points. Insane game from him. And he's going to have games like this. Now, I've said before that I don't see Josh Hart as a championship caliber player. And if he continues to do this, every other game while giving great defense and energy, I'll take everything I've said back because, 23 points in this game is probably the reason they win, to be honest. So this series, both games were extremely similar, and Boston, you just have to be disappointed as a fan because you had both of these games. And just a complete collapse. Now, I don't know where you go from here because you got to win both in the Garden. I mean, if you only win one, it's over. I see it's over. But we can go on to the next series I want to talk about, which is Denver and the Thunder. Let me see. Can I go down here and click the Thunder? Yes, I can. Yes, so let's go to game 1 because this was by far the more interesting game. Jokic, 42 points. That's the first thing you have to note because he was one of the reasons that willed Denver to this win, as OKC choked as well because they controlled it for all 48 minutes, essentially, and it did not matter because they get it done. Now, Russell Westbrook has been probably their second best player, probably Aaron Gordon. At worst, their fourth best player behind Murray, he's had a struggle. But Russ off the bench has been consistent. Now, that is one of the most shocking things to say in 2025 is that Russell Westbrook at 37 years old, or going on 37, is extremely consistent in the playoff atmosphere. You have to give him his props because he's brought the energy when a lot of the Nuggets have not showed it in games. But going into this game, Denver, they were able to claw back. This is the recipe for beating OKC. Keep it close late because OKC has not been in many close games over this entire season. They had one of the best records ever. 68-14. They were dominant, historic on the defensive side of the floor, especially. And in this game, they probably should have won. But Denver is an extremely good team when they can be. And if they can match you late, they could beat anybody. They can win the championship despite being much less talented than this young OKC team. Now, going down the lineup for Denver, Aaron Gordon, 22 points. He had the game-winning shot once again. That three-pointer was so big. It was a stunner. Probably even more so than the Pacers, but maybe not just because of how that went down, because it felt much quicker than Denver's comeback. MPJ 1 for 8 from the field. I don't want to laugh because I really liked MPJ throughout his career, but he just has too many games like this. It's extremely disappointing for the contract that he's on. Jamal Murray, he was fine, 21 points on 16 shots. You want to see better. He got to the line though. Christian Brown, he was good, plus 15. 4 for 8 from the field with 13 rebounds from Christian Brown as your guard / forward. You'll take that any day of the week. Peyton Watson, he's losing a lot of time in the lineup because he's shown unplayable spurts. And Strother, he's not going to play much just any game. As far as the lineup, they were fine. Denver, you would think, looking at this box score, you see the plus from Gordon, Jokic, like from the starting lineup besides MPJ. That's why he didn't play much, 24 minutes. But as far as, like, if you just go by the numbers, it would look like they did not play well. But they had an extremely impactful team play that got them this win. If we go to OKC, I mean, everybody was fine. I mean, Shea, 33 points on 26 shots. I mean, you want him to be a little bit more efficient, but I mean, you'll take that with 10 boards, 8 assists. Like that's a good game. That's a good game. Jalen Williams, this was the problem, especially late, because he couldn't get it done all game long. And after Shea, like that second option is extremely questionable still to this point. Dort, I mean, he was good. Minus 21 is insane, but I feel like that was just because of just how much Denver was able to claw back in the second half. Isaiah Hartenstein, I've been loving Hart since the Clippers, honestly. And I mean, he's just such an impactful player, and you could just see it. He's such a great team guy, and that's why he got paid in the offseason. So shout out to iHeart. Shat, I mean, he was okay. Like you want to see him more aggressive from the field, but I mean, the whole starting lineup behind Shea was like okay to good. And Caruso, I mean, he was the reason. He was going to be the reason why the Thunder pulled this win out, because of how impactful he was. And Caruso, I mean, he was just rotten in Chicago for 3 seasons for no reason, essentially. Chicago just did not want to let off of him, and he goes to OKC and immediately starts being one of the most impactful guys in the NBA coming off the bench. J. Will, second J. Will out of Arkansas. Cason Wallace, I mean, the bench guys was great, plus 19. They didn't score, but just the speed, the defense especially. This is just like why OKC is so hard to beat on an average night. Just because of from top to bottom, they have one of the greatest defensive teams on paper we've ever seen. I mean, the stats prove it also, but just the length, youth, and speed, the turnovers galore, constant transition, and they all shoot the 3 well. So, I mean, this team is near impossible to beat in a 7-game series, I feel. But Denver pulls it out. I mean, the missed free throws from Shet late was the reason. Especially in now, we have to call out Dagnall, because fouling up 3, I'm okay with the fouling up 3. I'm okay with it, but you have to do it much later. You have to do it late because it defeats the purpose. If you're getting in the foul game, that just gives Denver more of a chance with more variables. So if you're going to foul up 3, you cannot do it early because it's what's the point? You're just in the foul game, and missed free throws can happen from your team. Turnovers, it just creates more chances, more opportunities. So I was not a fan of fouling early there, which lets Shep. So I mean, I don't blame Shep for the missed free throws. I mean, you can, because he's expected to make those, especially he's a great free throw shooter. But it left the opportunity for Denver, and Westbrook with the great pass to Gordon gets it done. But this by far was the most you're going to talk about in the series so far, because game 2 was just a smacking. We'll just take a couple minutes just to cover this for a second. Yeah, I mean, 149-106, and that honestly is better than the game felt. I mean, you can see it. The absolute record, 87 points in the first half. 87 points. I mean, what can you do with that? OKC knew they had to win this game, and Denver felt okay with getting 1 and taking it back to Mile High, because there's no other explanation and reason that you should just get blown off the floor in the first quarter. The game was over after 12. The mercy rule could have been enrolled, and it would have been completely fine, just because it was never a game. We can go to the team stats first, because I feel like this is going to tell much more of the story. I mean, they had the same amount of field goal, which is it's extremely surprising, to be honest, because of how many turnovers that Denver commits. 21 turnovers at the end to OKC's 9. And 34-14. So, like, that's a story of the game alone. But it gets worse than that, because of how and it's not similar from the 3-point line. But I mean, OKC was just much more efficient. 50 field goals made to Denver's 33. And the defense was the story. Denver could not score Jokic especially. And when Westbrook is your leading scorer, I mean, he just has so much energy, and you can see it on the floor. Like he was an outlier in terms of playing hard, just in general. So I mean, Westbrook, he has been making me be wrong in so many areas that I'm extremely excited for him because he played really well and he deserves the praise that he's getting. I have to just truly give him credit. Shea, I mean, he's great. He's one of the best guys in the league, and this is expected. On 13 shots, 34, and he's perfect from the line. 11 made from the free throw line, a plus 51. That is just nuts. Plus 51 in 30 minutes. I mean, those alone are just two telling stats. 51, 30 minutes, and just across the floor, plus 34, plus 23, plus 19, plus 34. The starters just absolutely destroyed completely, and that's why they only had to play in a half, essentially. All of them shot well. J-Will could not hit the 3 tonight, but I mean, that's fine. He had 17 points, and I mean, there's just not much to talk about here because all of Denver's side played bad. Not a single guy played good, maybe outside of Westbrook, and it was a complete opposite on the other side. I mean, they went 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 deep, and I understand this is because of garbage time, but it was just over at the first quarter, so there's not much specific to talk about. I mean, they're going back to Mile High. Denver still has to feel good. They got one. That's all they needed, but now they have to go win Game 3 because when you get blown out like this, that shows a talent gap and a skill gap, honestly, in my opinion. So despite getting one, I mean, you're in a better situation technically in terms of home court, but you have to win Game 3, in my opinion. Game 3 is a must-win for the Nuggets because if you lose Game 3 after losing this type of game, now you're in trouble. So we'll have to wait and see on this series, but I still have OKC in the 6 at the moment. Now, finally, I want to cover the T-Wolves. So let's cover Game 1 first. And this one is extremely disappointing to cover just because of Steph's injury. Now, I have my differences with the Warriors, but you never want to see anyone go down, especially a guy of Steph's caliber, because that changes the series, point blank. And even after Steph go down in the first half, only gets 13 minutes logged with his hamstring. Now, we don't know the timeline. I believe they're going to reevaluate him in a week. They still plot the win behind the back of Buddy Hield. A pretty good game, 5 for 8 from 3. Jimmy, 20 points as well. And just defense, team defense, which is like the Warriors' greatest attribute at the moment. Like, they are no longer 3-point shooting, let fly team. They're a gritty defense team that's going to keep these games low scoring. And also, Anthony Edwards did not shoot well. He turned out 9 for 22, but I believe he started like 0 for 8 at the start of the game or something crazy like that with 14 boards, and he only turned out a -4, which is kind of impressive considering they lost by 11 points. But 23, he ended up with 23, but this was a terrible game from AE, and you don't want to see it because of, especially with Steph going down, you expect to get this win out on your home floor. The bench was okay. Naz Reid, he was really good, probably the best player in the night, in my opinion, with 19 points, 3 of 7 from 3 with 5 boards. But nobody played well. This game was kind of an interesting, if we just look at the guys on paper, but if you were watching it with the eye test, this was a grind out game. Now, Minnesota had kind of a fake comeback in the 4th, as the game was pretty much over at the end of the 3rd. So, and it's kind of the opposite. That's why the series is so much less interesting than it could be, just because of how everything turned out with the injuries. And that's one of the big stories so far in the playoffs. Injuries have kind of derailed like some of the hype that we've had, especially in this second round. But even despite that, we still have great moments. This game was kind of blowout. I mean, Golden State had got it in single digits in the 3rd quarter, but it didn't matter. Nobody played well. Everybody was a minus. Literally, was everybody a minus? Okay. Pods was a plus. He was the only guy with a positive plus minus. In 33 minutes, 48, being a +1 when you lose by 24 is extremely impressive. So shout out to Pods. He was 4 for 9 with 11 boards. But on Minnesota's side, I think that's where you have to put the focus. Anthony Edwards, only 13 shots. That's all he needed, 20 points and 9 boards and 5 assists. This is the type of game that you like to see from Ant. You just get your processing better, because this is going to make you the superstar type guy. If you can improve your processing and playmaking along with your scoring talent that you have already, I mean, you're looking at somebody that could easily win a championship with the core that he has now. Now, who is going to stay? I think they need to keep McDaniels, Naz Reid, and DiVincenzo. I think those are the key guys that you want to keep. Maybe Alexander Walker, but I believe he's expendable. Randle can go. I mean, he's been great so far in the playoffs, but I do think his attributes are extremely common in the league at this moment. A scoring forward. So 24 points, he was the leading scorer tonight, but he can be a volume scorer that's sometimes inefficient. So I'm a little mixed on Randle in terms of a playoff winning type player. But series is tied 1-1. I mean, the balls in the Warriors court easily, just because of how well they played game 1 without Steph. Now, what's going to happen in Game 3? I do see Minnesota going up 3-1. I just think Steph's too impactful of a loss for the Warriors to have a chance. So, as far as both games, it's just extremely disappointing. I hope he can make a speedy recovery, get back, make this series what it should be and what we expected coming in. But those are all games. We got through them pretty fast. I mean, it's only been 2 games each, but as far as general storylines, there's a lot to cover. But on a game by game basis, extremely baseline, streamlined stuff. Now the big storyline so far is obviously going to be, where do Boston go from here? Because that story of playoffs. I mean, they won last year. They were probably the favorites coming into this year, maybe behind OKC. But I still would have, if I was betting, I would have put my money on the Celtics to win the championship again. But it goes to show, in today's league with the new CBA, it is extremely difficult to win back-to-back. To win multiple championships as a core, period. Let alone win back-to-back. So I'm extremely excited despite the injuries, because just of how well teams have played. The quality has been some of the highest that we've seen in a long time, and it has been an extremely exciting playoffs, even without the Suns for me. We're going to see what game 4, I believe. There's only one game tomorrow as well, which is game 3 between the Cavs and the Pacers. Oh, I think OKC and Denver plays game 3 as well tomorrow. So they squeeze both of those in for tomorrow's slate of games. I'll probably get another video on Tuesday as we see a few of the games in each series go by. I appreciate you guys for watching the channel. Be sure to like, subscribe down below, as it really helps me grow. I mean, this has been an extremely great start. And I have not been as consistent as I should be. I have to just be completely out in the open. And I want to be more consistent as I'm closing out my school year. But thank you guys for watching. You guys have a great rest of your day or night, depending on when you watch this video. Bless and peace out.